This week on the podcast, let's talk about the latest micro shooter from David Szymanski. There's a new report on how consistently PEGI and the ESRB are labeling games with loot boxes. And of course, stick around until the end of the show for deals of the week. All of that and more in this week's episode of the podcast. Time to roll the intro. I like it. I like your scatting because it was just so short, right? It wasn't anywhere near as long as Mendacii's, but also
Plus,
not
when
nearly
we
as
had like a
impressive.
it was like we had like a 9-second intro or 10-second intro, and he had all the time in the world to do a scat. We've done the overhaul, and now we don't have a 9 to 12-second intro. It's just short and sweet. So you got to go to the little bum, 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 bum.
Right?
I wouldn't really even call it scatting. I'd call it more like the THQ, da, 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 you know. I don't know
Yeah.
if that would fall under, but you know.
I think that's the new word that you coined.
Semantics.
Hello and welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, Daniecae. With me, I am joined by the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Green. Green, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I cannot complain. I am just peaches and cream, which reminds me, I have peaches, like canned peaches that I opened up last night.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put them in a container, put them in the fridge to chill, and then I forgot to eat them. So I have peaches in the fridge,
Wow.
but no cream. No cream.
No cream. That's just a disappointment.
Do people actually eat peaches and cream though?
I have no idea. I feel like that's just like a candy flavor or like an ice cream
I
flavor.
feel like it's something. I wouldn't even eat ice cream, like peach flavored ice cream. No thanks. It's too weird.
Anyways, thanks for watching, listening to the show. Like I said at the top, be sure to stick around until the end to hear about some awesome deals that we found for you this week. If you like what we do, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate that. We're trying to hit 100, or I'm sorry, not 100. We're trying to hit 1,000 by the end of this year. So any way you can help us out, that'd be appreciated.
It'd be a lot cooler if it was 1 million.
Of course, if you miss any part of the show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. If you want to join us live, you can do that every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Twitch. Green.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Rev was on the show? A gentleman by the
Love
name
that
of
guy.
Yeah, love Rev. I want to get buried in his beard. But do you remember when he was on the show, he reviewed the Dread XP collection, or one of the Dread collections, and he got obsessed with and terrified by a game called Squirrel Stapler.
Yeah. God is here. God is here. Yeah.
So the mind behind that, David Szymanski, which I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I'm going to tag him in this later, and he can hopefully tell me if I'm pronouncing his name right. But he, that devilish mind that he is, has also released a new game called Chop Goblins, which is a very charming and endearing bite-sized first-person shooter from David's depraved mind. Like I said, David did Squirrel Stapler, Dusk, Iron Lung. He's part of New Blood. I think he's one half of the team working in Gloomwood. So there's a lot of stuff that we've kind of talked about or touched, or we've at least mentioned that David has done. I think he's probably the most talked about developer, at least independent developer, that we've mentioned on the show. But
I would say, yeah, that's a fair assessment.
He can wear that crown with pride. We've been doing the show for what, 4 years?
Oh yeah.
Almost 5.
Almost 5. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, this July is 5.
Yeah,
Gotta do something big and bold.
We'll see how big and bold we can go. We got to be like Tabasco. But the game has a very similar, very silly premise where these evil little goblins steal a time-traveling artifact from a museum, and they go back in time to steal other ancient and powerful artifacts to achieve world domination. And it is you who has to stop them. The game has 5 levels, and you can play it all in just one sitting. The game is incredibly short, but you can adjust the difficulty for it to be more or less challenging if you want to. There are no save points, but you do choose a level, but you do choose like a level whenever you'd want to, right? So you can sit and play it from beginning to end, or you can go back and play whatever levels that you want in whatever order that you want. But yeah, like I said, no save points, so you have to do like the levels in like a single run, essentially. The game's mechanics are pretty simple. Kill goblins, find weapons, and reach the end. Some of the weapons that are included are a ceremonial dagger, a flintlock pistol, so you can, blast the ruffians. You also get a machine gun that shoots wooden stakes. So, vampires beware. And a magic rod that explodes goblins.
How about the heathens?
At the heathens. There are a few different enemy types. There are the like regular goblins who just want to stab you. There's goblins that throw things at you. There are goblin ladies who throw insults at you like your mother. And there are vampire dogs and big goblins who can beat you up pretty quickly.
I you say that insults like my mother, but my mother never insulted me.
Okay, your
Her
mother-in-law.
family, no, she wouldn't dare. To be honest, I'll say that right here, right now. I would love for her to try,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, repressing some issues there, Danie. Like, what's going on here? Anywho, continue.
So yeah, the game is pretty short and sweet. Levels. I didn't mention levels. So there are 5 levels. That includes a museum, the mean streets of whatever town you're in. There's Dracula's castle, ancient Greece, and the future. Probably the scariest place of all. So yeah, the level designs. This game is very, very into boomer shooter aesthetics. So it's got a little bit of platforming. It's got like some secret hidden ways in it. It's low poly. So I mean, this is going to be very reminiscent of mid to late 90s PC gaming, I would say. The level designs, I everything about the game is really charming. The music, which I think David did everything in this game, from designing the assets to soundtrack and voice acting. The music on these levels are fun and fantastic. The like Dracula's castle music sounds like goofy elementary school Halloween music with like theremin and kind of bouncy just notes and stuff like that. The Greece level, ancient Greece level, almost sounds like like the cheesy after school special or like cheesy school ancient Greece documentary or something like that, like the Eyewitness music. You remember those movies, the Eyewitness movies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Vaguely, like very vaguely, yes.
So yeah, everything about the game is done very endearingly. It's not presenting itself to be anything other than what it is, which is a silly, fun game. And that is like the goblins. One of the things the goblins scream is like, "Where's the cheese?" Like there's just a certain amount of these goblins who just want cheese.
Where's the fucking cheese? Hey?
Yeah. The game should run. The game should run well on any modern low-end machine. Here are the minimum specs: 64-bit processor and operating system, Windows 7 or newer. Processor needs to be x86 or x64 architecture instruction set. You need DX 10, 11, or 12 capable graphics cards, and the game is 821 megabits. So
I would hope that runs on a potato.
Yeah, it should run.
Jeez.
It should run on a potato. um, but yeah, so I've described it. I've told you guys what it runs on. But who is this game for? Right? If I had to describe this game for anybody, if I had to prescribe this game for anybody, I would say first off, if you're a fan of the weird boomer shooters, you'll want to check this out, right? There's been this new uh craze of just early styled FPS games that are just kind of weird and endearing. Um this is for people who enjoy that. Anyone who likes the old school Doom likes or anything from the New Blood catalog because that's kind of their bread and butter. Um I would say check that out or check it out if you're one of those people. Although I feel like if you are one of those people who are really into like the New Blood games, you probably already have this because David is a big member of that team. Um I would say this is also for someone who maybe just wants to burn a Saturday afternoon, right? Like you're not going to get a ton of mileage out of this game, but you're going to get an afternoon out of it and for $5, that's a decent amount of entertainment. You know, it beats going to a movie for 2 hours, I would say. Um
Depends on the movie.
yeah. Well, yeah, a movie would be way more expensive for less value of
Yeah,
entertainment.
that is also fair. Yeah, the value to playability or the
Yeah.
value to fun ratio, I should say.
Yeah. It's I mean, and after that point, after you burn that Saturday afternoon, you just kind of keep it on like your laptop or something like that for, a lunch break or a boring day, or if you just need to entertain a kid for a little bit. I think that, would be a good enough use case to, you know, keep the game. Um, the third recommendation I'm going to make here is it's a really good gift. It's $5. It really doesn't ask a lot of commitment for the giftee, right? Because like I've been gifted games and it's like a full on like 20-hour like story. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna have time. That's a commitment. I appreciate the gift, but man, that is a commitment.
Tea and avocado, thanks.
Yeah. So I think definitely this would be a good gift. So if you have someone like who you think just maybe needs a pick me up or could like maybe they have a birthday or you don't know them all that well, but you want to get them something, $5 runs on potatoes and doesn't like ask a lot of the player. Um yeah. Do you have any questions, thoughts, opinions, Green?
No, not
Okay.
off the top of my head. No,
Well,
no. So just to be clear, like, what would you give this like as a rating of like? Because you don't play a lot of indie games.
yeah.
Like, where would you rate this as like a out of 5
5 being the highest?
terms? Yeah, 5 being the highest, 5 being amazing, the best game you've ever played.
Well, I wouldn't say it's the best. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 because it's not like the best game that I've ever played, but the game is as advertised. It does not pretend to be anything other than what it is, and it succeeds at what it wants to do, and it does it well. It's got it's a good, cheesy, silly, fun premise that asks you to just have fun and not have any commitments. Right? That is what this game does. And to me, it in every category, it does that. But any other questions?
No, no, that's all I got.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask the audience this: if you've played Chop Goblin, let us know what you think about in the comments, and I'll be sure to respond to each comment that we get. So yeah. Um, Green.
Hmm?
If you get like a piece like a snack cake and you buy it in Canada and buy it in the United States, do you expect that snack cake's ingredients to be the same if it's from the same?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, sugar is sugar.
Okay. So Why then would there be differences in how games are being labeled in the United States or in North America versus Europe? And I found this
Because
story.
companies are dumb.
So I found this story from Games Industry Biz. The article itself is written by Brendan Sinclair, and according to one study, more than 60% of games that got loot box warnings from either PEGI or the ESRB did not get the same warning from the other rating organization. So, little background, right? PEGI is the Pan European Game Information Rating System and is the industry rating system for the EU, Turkey, and Israel. The ESRB, the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, serves North America. Both of these are industry organizations who are self-governing and are meant to prevent the governments of the respective regions from coming in and regulating and rating games. And while you would expect cultural differences in what context would be deemed acceptable for different ages, what you wouldn't expect is if there were differences in labeling of content that is either there or not, right? But that is what Leon Zhao, a lootbox researcher, found. In comparing the two systems from his latest study, Zhao, which I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, it's Xiao. Xiao? Zhao? What was that, Green? You're muted.
Zhao, I would say is
Okay.
Zhao. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a professional. Yeah, so.
So, in his latest study, he found that labels for loot boxes, which were almost identical in criteria from both organizations, meaning that they defined loot boxes essentially the same. And again, that would leave anyone to believe that if one organization has put the warning on the box, the other must have as well. And he took a sample of 100 games that were known to have loot boxes in them. Of the sample, he found 66 games that should have had the label on them in both systems but didn't. 26 of those games had a label in both systems, while 40 games had the label in one but not the other. Of those 40 games that had the label on in one system but not the other, PEGI had put the label on 35 of them. Am I making sense? I know I just threw a lot of numbers out there. But essentially, over 60% of games are not being labeled correctly at all to say they contain loot boxes. And of those games, it is inconsistent in which system or if they are getting labeled accurately in both systems. In his study, he suggested that PEGI, the ESRB, and the German USK collaborate and communicate together going forward. Quote, a centralized recourse should be also developed if any one rating system decides to label a historical game or indeed a new game as containing loot boxes. That decision should be communicated with others to ensure consistency across the various rating systems. So, yeah, it comes down to communication, communication, communication. And it's not happening. Like, just blanket not happening. Green, what do you have thoughts on this? You're muted.
Damn. No, it sounds about right. Like, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest either. Like, companies like that are really bad about communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And this is something that is definitely important to relay as well, especially if it's loot boxes that you can actually purchase. That can be, in my mind, construed as gambling. So like they should be warning parents about that.
Especially if the EU like does any sort of like regulations in terms of gambling or labeling it as gambling, or if any of the EU member nations change something, like Belgium, right? I think it was Belgium that just changed their laws within the last couple of years to label loot boxes as essentially gambling. And so you would think if a game is labeled, just for example, if a game is labeled to have loot boxes by the ESRB, you would think that that PEGI would want to take notice of that and be consistent with the ESRB, so that Belgium doesn't get pissed off at PEGI and be like, well, look at this other organization just across the pond who is labeling it as such. Why aren't you doing that? Especially if their definitions are almost identical. Um, Now, it seems like obviously PEGI is the one who is being more aggressive and more consistent with their labeling system. But I would I would venture to say it's probably because they have many more countries to deal with than the ESRB. ESRB has what? Probably 3 countries to deal with. If it's
I
just
would say,
if it's just
yeah.
North America, Canada, the US, Mexico, maybe some Latin American countries. I'm not sure exactly how all they're covered. Um, but yeah, I would say it's a pretty big deal if they're not doing that, especially because it's again it's supposed to be a self-regulating uh, industry, and if they're not doing it, if they're not holding up their promise of self-regulation, that opens them up to liability to then be regulated, which we probably don't want to see. So yeah, they need to close up that discrepancy for sure. I would also be kind of pissed too if there's like definitely an issue of historical games where they release without the system and then they add in that later, like a year on. I would be pretty pissed if I was a parent and I went to go do research on a game and the rating system that I am supposed to be using for my region wasn't applying information consistently either. As a consumer, I'd be pretty peeved. I'd be pretty upset with that, just simply because that's what it's there for. That's the entire purpose of it. But I really don't
For
have,
reason.
yeah, yeah. But I don't really have much else to say other than they just need to get their stuff together. They just need to get on the same page. I think Leon's uh, assessment at the end of his study is pretty spot on.
Consistency is key for sure when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Um, Especially with it being a purchasing factor and something that is just so important, and something that's really come to light in the past like few years. So consistency is key. Has to be consistent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise there's no point.
Yeah. Really, there is no point at that point. Um, I don't know if I have anything else really on this topic.
Neither do I. So
Do we just want to move on to deals of the week?
yeah, deals of the week. What do you got?
Yeah, so right now Humble Bundle has their winter sale. Deals up to 90% off. This it actually ends on February 7th. So you got some time. If you're watching this episode or listening to this episode in the couple days after it comes out, you got a little bit of time. Some games that are on sale right now is you can get Valheim for $14.99. That is a 30% discount. There is let's see, there was one that I saw that I thought was definitely worth mentioning. It was the Fear Complete Pack, 85% off, 824. God of War is 40% off, the first like PC version. So you can get that for $29.99. There's some pretty good deals here. Definitely worth checking out. Of course, the link in the description will be a affiliate link, so just know that we do get a little bit of a little bit of cash off your purchase there, but at no extra cost to you, of course. How about you, Green? What do you got?
I have for Steam on Steam right now, Red Dead Redemption 2. The full game is currently on sale until February 2nd for 70 or 67% off, not 70%, close to 70%. Which will bring you to a grand total of $19.79 US dollars. And that can be found again on Steam. I believe it is the full version, so you get the the campaign storyline as well as Red Dead Online. I only have Red Dead Online, but that was fun when I was playing it. So, and I've seen a lot of people play the campaign, and it looks phenomenal. Looks hilariously fun. On top of like actually being points of seriousness and ready and cowboy. I like that. So be sure to check that out.
Excellent. I'm gonna do one since Mendachi's not here. I am gonna do one for him though, just because it relates to everything that he loves and everything that we talked about last week. On Humble Bundle, there is the RPG Worlds by Cobalt Press bundle. That's going on for like 17 days here. Um, for $30, you can get like 52 books, including let's see, Southlands, the 5e world book, Vault of Magic. There's a Book of Ebon Tides, Old School Essentials, Advanced Fantasy, like a player's tome there. So if you're into uh, anything TTRPG, this would probably be a pretty good deal to pick up. Be lots of different systems and settings for you to check out and play around in. Yeah, I don't think I have much else then to mention.
All
Anything
right.
else?
No, not that I have.
What do you got going on?
Well, I have a new desk to put up. It's in that box right over there.
Ooh,
So I'm getting that my whole bedroom rearranged. So if I do stream, it will be after I get that set up, and then if I stream, it'll either be Hunt Showdown, maybe some Minecraft, um, and then we've been playing some Marauders off stream as well. That's been
yeah,
pretty fun. So yeah, probably one of those, or maybe some Overwatch because I'm a sucker for a few games of Overwatch here and there. So that's pretty much it.
hell yeah,
Um, one thing I've been playing off stream is Hyena. The Hyenas has it's by uh, Creative Assembly and Sega. It's in a closed alpha. I can't really talk about the game itself, but it's almost like an extract shooter, kind of like Hunt Showdown, but with like a Borderlands style art piece. They finished the alpha this weekend. They'll be having more alphas, but like, fuck, is it good?
yeah.
Like, fuck, is it good? It's good. It's fun. It's very fun. Like, I can't wait for that to go on beta and then uh for it to go full release because like even the alpha felt really really good.
Yeah,
So yeah, make sure that you apply for a closed alpha testing spot because like I know they're giving them out and it's fun.
yeah.
It's very fun. So
Well, sh-
but again, you can catch me twitch.tv/Mr. Greenleet, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all the
yeah.
fancy things, Mr. Greenleet.
So if people want to know more about hyenas, should they maybe subscribe so they can hear more about it in the future?
Absolutely, because like once it goes to where I can talk about it like in full detail, I will be talking about it full detail because like fuck is it good. It's so good.
Hell yeah.
Spoiler alert, it's fucking good.
Yeah. Y'all don't want to miss that. Uh I'm not gonna lie, there's probably not gonna be much going on for me this week. I am relocating for a few months, like this week. So I have to like move a bunch of my stuff and get reorganized and reset up. And then I'm not even sure exactly what my internet situation is gonna be when I get to where I need to go. So things might be a little bit different, but you guys can always keep up with me on Twitter at Daniecae, Daniecae. If you're on YouTube, like I said, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we have more VR Kana coming this weekend. We actually have me and Green Elite's bonus episode going up this weekend. And then I don't know about you, Green, but last week's VR Kana live session was a fucking blast.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It was great. Very
Like,
much recommend going and watching that once it becomes available on YouTube because fuck, was it good.
yeah, I don't want to like, toot my own horn, but I feel like I told a pretty good story there. And it's a story that ties into previous episodes and previous bonus episodes. So make sure you check it out. Yeah, I think that's it for me right now. I can't really say much else. Like I said, just follow me on Twitter. That's where you can keep up with me, where I do all sorts of spicy takes. We also have a next to nothing Twitter as well. Green, hit him with that.
At next to nothing PC, baby boys and girls and non-binary folks.
Hell yeah. Otherwise, I think that's going to do it. That's the whole show for this week. Really nice, short, and sweet. So hopefully you guys enjoy these short episodes. Thanks for watching and listening. Your time and attention is always appreciated. If you made it this far, be sure to drop us a like and subscribe. That's always appreciated. You can also let us know what you think about in the comments on YouTube. We try to respond to all the comments that we can. So yeah, make sure that you guys let us know what you think about. Connect with us. We really love hearing from you. Until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
I love you.